This is my Interstate 85 shield from the state of Georgia. It measures 24 by 24 inches and is made of Scotch-Lite sheeting on steel. The shield is done to 1961 specifications, so it could date back to when I-85 first opened, but I'm not entirely sure. Anything's possible. This is my Quebec Route 20 shield. It measures 12 by 18 inches and is made from Scotch-Lite sheeting on plywood. It's actually about the size of your typical parking sign, and as this was the standard size for these signs back when this was made. The cool thing about this sign, however, is that the Route 20 in Quebec that this sign refers to doesn't exist anymore. The sign dates back to before the modern-day Quebec Autoroute system was constructed, which is the Quebec equivalent to the American Interstate Highway System. When the Autoroute system was first conceived in the 1970s, all routes under 100 were renumbered to those between 100 and 399. Today's routes in the Canadian province under 100 are autoroutes, while those from 400 and above are spur and loop autoroutes. The routing of the Quebec 20 to which the sign refers to is now Quebec Route 122. Judging by the size of the sign as well as the number, style, and text, I'm guessing this sign dates to around the 1940s. 1950s at the latest. This is my Civil Defense Evacuation Route 4 shield from the state of Washington. The sign is about 20 by 20 inches and it's basically just paint on plywood, so not very reflective. Unfortunately, I have no info whatsoever on where Route 4 ran or when it existed exactly. I have reason to believe that Route 4 likely led to a fallout shelter. The sign probably dates back to the 1950s, during the time of the Cold War, and the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that. This is my Canadian Blue School Zone sign. It measures 30 by 30 inches and is made from engineer-grade sheeting on steel. I was told by the person who sold me this that it saw service somewhere in British Columbia. Judging by the way the figures are drawn on the sign, I want to say this dates back to the 1960s at best, but I could be wrong. This is my truck route sign, which came from the state of California. It measures 24 by 24 inches and is made of engineer-grade sheeting on aluminum. Not too much to say about this sign other than the fact that it looks cool. It's dated 1985 on the backside. Here is my Wisconsin State Route 213 shield. I'm not really sure what this design is supposed to represent, but it looks like the offspring of a rectangle and a triangle. It measures 24 by 24 inches and is made of engineer-grade sheeting on aluminum. Wisconsin is one of those states that still continues to use 2-digit sized shields for all routes, which is nice. I like that. The exact date on the sign is unknown, but it was likely made within the last decade. This is my New Hampshire town line sign. As you can see, New Hampshire likes to install their town line signs vertically instead of the usual horizontal like it's seen everywhere else. Maine also likes to install these vertical town line signs. If you notice the TL written on the top, which is of course town line, it represents the old man of the mountain along with the silhouette of New Hampshire. I know this was installed along Route 11 at the Alton-Guilford town line, as told by the person who sold it to me. I'm guessing this sign dates back to the 1990s, just based on the style, because newer ones I think lack that TL on the top, but I'm not sure. This is my Prince Edward Island Route 2 shield. It measures about 18 by 24 inches and is made from engineer grade sheeting on aluminum. I like this shield design. It's one of my favorites in Canada. It's nice and simple, and it looks cool. The trees on top are similar to those seen on the province flag. The three smaller trees represent 3 counties of the small island province, and the large tree represents Prince Edward Island as a whole. A dating sticker on the back shows this was installed in July of 2002. These are my 2 Ontario provincial route shields, routes 10 and 11. These are probably one of my favorite route shield designs of all time. To the left is the modern design, what's seen today, and to the right is the 1990s era design when the King's Highway was written on top of the sign. Pretty much all of the primary routes in Ontario are referred to as the King's Highway. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure on the dates of these 2 signs, but the 10 shield was probably made within this past decade, and the 11 probably sometime in the 90s. As you can see, the 11 is a little bit weathered or beat up, and the 10 is bent a little bit, but they still managed to be 2 of my prize pieces. So, yeah, I like them. This is my Do Not Enter sign, which came from the state of Maryland. It measures 30 by 30 inches and is made from high-intensity sheeting on aluminum. On the bottom right corner of the sign is the inventory number, though I'm not sure if you can see that. And on the back side of the sign is a Maryland State Highway Administration sticker that shows the date and shows that the sign was installed sometime in 2002.